Hello and welcome to another edition of Talking MotoGP, and this is a very special edition of Talking MotoGP because I have an ultra special guest with me, and it's not this hairy glute over here, that's just Donovan Free, the normal guest, but I have an actual MotoGP rider to be joining us on this episode. Brad Binder, how you doing, my man? In South Africa, nice warm
In his
sunny-
garden. We're in a garden here. We're in the middle of winter, we're in a garden. Take that, Europe.
That's how professional we are. So yeah, welcome Brad Binder.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for taking the time out to chat to us. He's just arrived back in South Africa for his chill time, and yeah, we came to bug him all day on this beautiful Tuesday. And
He isn't chill time. Checking him. He's wearing. Checking his shoes.
he's got slippers
Got
on.
slippers on.
You
I
guys,
like this.
you know, I was taking it easy having coffee, and then you guys rolled up. So
Hell
Hey,
yeah.
we stole his couches out of his lounge. He doesn't really have any furniture in his house. He went furniture shopping, but typical in South Africa, you pick the couch you want, and they say, cool, wait 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Brad Binder doesn't have 6 weeks. He's here for 5 days.
We want
and he goes-
couches now.
exactly, but I've
So
got like a few hours in between flights here. So
He did have a kettle, he did have coffee. How was the coffee?
Yeah, the coffee was actually good. You're forgiven.
is it? Luckily, I didn't make it. That must explain why it's good.
All is forgiven if you just give Donovan some
Yeah.
nice coffee. So let's catch up then with Brad. We're going to start off the first question. We're going to also turn this interview into a published interview Q&A session in Ride Fast magazine, the August issue. He's on our front cover again. How you know you've made it in life. When you've been, I think this is the third front cover you've been on.
Yeah, you know, I'm truly grateful to Ride Fast.
What did I say to you when you were like 9 years old? I
You're
said,
going to make
"Stick
me
with
famous, but
and I'll
Hey?
make you famous. And
It
where are
doesn't.
you?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, MCN and Motorrad and all. I mean, please,
Same
ride
thing.
fast. Ride fast.
So, the first question, Mr. Brad Binder. Tell us about your 2019 so far, the struggles. You look like you've made some solutions, and then potentially going forward for the rest of the year.
geez, where to start?
Oh, that's a lot.
I mean, gosh, this year has been hectic. Like, the worst part of it all was I came into the year feeling so good and so prepared to try and do a great job this year. But basically, everything was really good at Jerez in the test. And then we got to a more normal track where they haven't really resurfaced it. And all of a sudden, we started to find all these huge issues. And it turns out that Jerez was like hiding all of our problems, and every other track was just bringing them all
Highlighting
out.
us.
So, yeah, it took us a long time just to try to find the direction we needed with that, and we tried many different frames, complete different setups, but the issues always stayed the same. And fortunately, after the last race in Barcelona, where I was fighting for, I think I was fighting for like 12th
And you were
or
fighting.
something, and I couldn't go. I stopped and I said to the guys, honestly, I couldn't have done that race half a second quicker. Like felt like I didn't make one single mistake, and I rode my absolute best. And then I was outside
had to
the top
change.
10. So I was like, please guys, we can't carry on like this. And we're really fortunate that we found something that helped a lot, not with the handling, but with the general power of the bike. We're down by more than 10 k's per hour all year.
But how can that be if
Yeah.
it's a standard Triumph motor?
Yeah,
So
that's
how, is it just aerodynamics? Is it?
That's what we thought. Originally, we were like, okay, obviously we got a lot of work to do on the aerodynamics, but actually, we were the only team that had we had like the air intakes going around the side of the frame.
Okay.
So then we,
Like old ZX7 World
Yeah.
Superbike style.
Yeah.
With those
But,
creepy crawly
Akira
pipes.
Yanagawa. There we go.
you know, it always worked because we could always design our own airbox, but now with the new Triumph, you got to use theirs.
Okay.
So then they rebuilt as a frame and they made it a direct intake. And all of a sudden, like from corner to corner, we were winning 0.1, 0.2. And then I literally jumped off my race bike, went onto this one the next day, and in the first session I think it was almost 1.1 seconds quicker
Jeez,
than
a
I'd been in the
lifetime.
race.
That's a
Yeah.
lifetime.
So I mean, over a race, that's 23 seconds. So yeah, from then on I was like, okay.
Why didn't we have this before?
Yeah.
Darren?
And now saying that, going forward from now, as soon as we get to Brno, we got all the brand new stuff. So now because they've changed this intake, we can go much narrower with the fairings. We've got almost this new MotoGP style where they really cut out the fairings much like deeper around the wheel arch.
Okay.
So like it's meant to make the bike a whole lot easier to handle, much easier to change direction in the wind and stuff. So
So is that where you were battling, particularly was a change of direction? I know you complained about chatter and
Yeah.
rear grip. I mean, was it just an overall problem, or was it the chatter that was the big problem, or just a combination?
It's still chattering like crazy. Like in the last two races, each lap I get more and more and more chatter. which is
And there's
super
nothing
hard.
you can do with
Yeah.
that. Eh?
Nothing. And the problem is when you need to fight with the guys, like I'm going into the corners barely even pulling the brake. Like I honestly feel like I'm riding in the rain by the end of the race because I'm just trying to
Not crash.
not have huge moments and lose a whole lot of time.
But we saw it like Assen. I mean, you had people like, okay, Marquez and them. They always seemed that sort of mid-corner. They were able to kind of close up on you.
Yeah.
But you always had them on the brakes the whole time. Is this just Brad Binder, or is that sort of
The strong point
yeah,
of
a
the
strong
bike.
point of the bike?
The bike's good in the brakes. I've always been really, really good, strong in the brakes. It's like my strongest point
Darren
of my
as well.
riding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Darren as well.
Darren.
Yeah, that's it. It must be a South African thing. But yeah, that's always been my strongest point. The main thing in Assen was I had to really release stop really early and just release the brake and just flow through the corner. Because if I'd come in and just try carry entry speed, I'd have this massive chatter and just go wide. So it was one of the most frustrating races of my life because all I was doing was blocking. Like every time someone would come past, I'd just stick it straight underneath them.
Moto 3 style.
Like I'd literally block every corner just to make sure I was in
I
more
want to
or
know.
less
I
at the
want
end.
I want a microphone in the helmets of the guys behind you. Go, yeah, just
Yeah. And then I don't know how, but somehow I managed to get like a second gap. I saw it on
well,
my board.
Baldassari helped you.
Yeah, for sure, he helped me a lot. And then I put the bike in neutral going into the hairpin.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
yeah.
I was like, oh, and then clicked it in gear and then had a lacquer high side. Went down the straights, did a few corners, and then Marquez passed me. I was like, guys, this sucks.
I can only block so
Yes,
much.
yeah.
So now you speak of next race down in Brno, you speak of a complete new package. Have you seen the bike? Have you sat on the bike? Have you done a lap on the bike? Or is you rocking up to Brno, here's your new bike, tell us what it's about.
Literally, it's going to be brand new. Basically, we have moved the engine position and all of that, so they've had to redesign the airbox, the fuel tank. The bike's narrower, all the fairings are brand new. All the stiffnesses have changed in the frames, in the frame. But the really positive thing is everything we have tested, there's not been one thing that's like, wow, okay, now it's fixed. It's like this made it a little bit better, that helped, this is a bit better, but we couldn't really put it all together. You know, now that they've had the time, and we also only allowed one aero update for the year.
Yes, yeah.
So they can't they couldn't
Waste that.
change everything. Well, do it, and then we couldn't do the full package later on, so we had to wait a bit. But now that they're bringing it all at once, I have a lot of faith in the bike. I really believe that, you know, the guys have been working so hard, and the guys, everything they say and everything all my feedback just points in the same direction. So I'm really confident that we're going to have a strong bike for the end of the year.
Say, I mean, you're on. Okay, people forget this. This is KTM. I mean, you look at Dakar, you look at motocross, you look at everything. They're a winning company. I'm sure, you know, you finishing 12th in a race probably annoys them. I'm going to say almost more than what it annoys you. They're sitting there going. So I mean, you can just imagine they're putting a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of everything at those bikes.
I mean, it's crazy. If you see the amount of effort that they put in, it's absolutely insane. If you not just like bringing parts and developing the bike and all that, but if you see the amount of things we try over a weekend compared to everyone else, it's 10 to none. Like, it's absolutely crazy. We have White Power behind us, so they bring us different shocks, different forks, different anything you can believe. Like, we tried different linkages. Like, I probably had 10 swing arms this year. Like,
You're
that's
probably the
hard
most
to count.
experienced. You're probably the most experienced test rider, not in Moto2, but MotoGP.
Yes. I promise you, it's like all the guys are like, yeah, I tried a little bit more weight on the front, it wasn't great. I'm like, yeah, well,
They're like,
you know,
is
we
it?
kind of like turned my bike over 3 times during the session, and yeah,
And it's
it
the
is what
funny
it is.
little things there. I remember 2016, I came to the Mazzano test, the private Moto 3 test that you had there, and you tested that carbon, I think it was this carbon swing arm, and you came in, I remember. So how it works in a testing day is they go out and they say to Brad, right, you've got to go out and do 10 laps. If the bike handlebar's falling off, whatever, you go out, you do 10 laps and you pull in. You don't come in before that 10 laps. I remember you pulling in and they literally changed a spacer, 2 or 3 mils on the handlebar down or something. And you went out and you went like half a second faster. I mean, that is the fine margin we're playing with, that a spacer can find half a second. I mean, and that's like what you said, where the Moto2 bike is now. look, Calex have done a brilliant job at providing a really good package straight out of the bat. KTM look like they've got to work with it, but at least you're seeing progress. You're not sitting there going, oh, well, just deal with the bike. And looking at it, I spoke to your dad as well, and he said that, I mean, the championship's not over. If you climb on that package at Brno, and it is what we think and hope it's going to be, there's some really good racetracks for you coming up. You're still in the championship. And with the likes of Baldessari crashing every second race meeting, Marquez being taken out.
Marquez with him.
I mean, no one...
Come on, pay Baldessari around the kind of... Just give him a little sideline package.
It's not a far-fetched idea of still being number one going into next year.
You know, it's definitely going to be an uphill battle from here because they've left me so much work to do. I mean, half the races this year we've just been trying to finish. So the main thing is, I've been really fortunate that the gap is not huge, and always the second half of the year are my tracks. So I really believe that there's still a good chance I can pull this off.
You know what this is going to be? This is going to be Jerez 2016. But over half a season.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
And he's done it.
Literally going to have to, if I don't win, I've got to be in the first two, three minimum.
And Marquez is looking good. I mean, we've never been able to say that before, consistency with Alex Marquez particularly, but he is. But it's a very competitive Moto2, and I'm hoping that they get it right at Brno. I'm sure we'll catch up with you and you'll tell us all about that. But on to the big story now. Tell us about your MotoGP Tech 3 ride, how it all came about. There's so many people out there saying, don't go, you're not ready, or don't go on that bike, it's not competitive enough. But I mean, there's a bigger story to it. At the end of the day, you're contracted by KTM. That's where they wanted to put you. And I can understand now why, because you, in my eyes, you're kind of the overall package. You're clearly a decent test rider because you've now tested every single part.
You've got enough experience.
You've tested every single part that they've got in the factory.
Tell us about this wheel bearing.
You do everything on and off the track, that's needed. So, I mean, was it a case of, guys, I'd like to go to MotoGP, or was it KTM saying, listen, we would like you to go to MotoGP?
Well, it all came about I've always had the option. They've always had the option to take me to GP. So they came to me in Jerez and they were like, yeah, we would like to have you in our MotoGP team for next year. And to be honest, straight off the bat, it wasn't like,
hell yeah.
That's amazing, because the thing is, I really wanted to win the Moto2 World Championship. So I think that's why it took so long to really get everything cleared up, because I was, it was a kind of thing, should I stay? Should I go? How are we going to do this?
There's a bigger picture, yeah.
That's it, it's not just a case of, cool, let's do this. That sounds amazing. I mean, obviously it's a dream come true. I mean, I feel so fortunate to even have the opportunity to line up alongside some of those guys. Never mind
overtaking them around the outside.
I can't wait. I'm just going to, when I see Rossi, but I don't care if it's 2 seconds that fast. I mean, I'm going to pass it.
That was one of my next questions, actually. When you see Rossi, are you going to do that's Rossi, I'm going to sit behind him, or are you going to do a Saxon Ring turn 1 around the outside, getting it pinned sideways?
No ways. I'm going to go straight into the side of Rossi.
That's what we like. How's that? Go straight into the side of Rossi.
Oh, you have to. But I've been watching him on TV since I was in nappies. So,
I can just imagine in the gravel trap, you're going to go to him, and he's going to be all pissed off. That wasn't honest. So.
That's all I wanted to do my whole life.
I'm not going to understand anything he's telling me. So, sorry, but.
So your deal then at KTM came to you and said, would you like to? You've now sewn up the deal. You're going to be with Tech 3 KTM in 2020. So what now? I mean, obviously you are excited, and you have tested the KTM MotoGP bike a couple of weeks ago with Danny Pedrosa. Tell us about that. Obviously, how was it riding a MotoGP bike for the first time, and the Pedrosa involvement? Do you think it's going to help the bike?
Yeah, it was incredible. Having my first ride on a MotoGP bike, I didn't sleep the night
Brno,
before. Yeah. At Brno, of all places, where there's such long straights and such big, fast-flowing corners.
You've never been up that hill so fast in your life.
Gosh, the problem was just getting to the top, without the thing wheeling, and it was hard.
I mean, that's 300 horsepower. I mean, okay, we don't know what 300 horsepower is like. We all think we own it. We've got some boot who's got a GSXR with a pipe that makes
you H2.
Yeah, no, not even. You don't know what 300 horsepower feels like
on a 140 kilo chassis or something.
With someone who weighs as much as him. He weighs as much as a bag of shit. My dog weighs more than you.
I just love the message he sent me after I asked him about it. He said, "There's no longer are there straights."
Yeah, I promise you, I got on the thing. I came out of turn 1 in Brno, turn 2, it's not even a corner, but now it's a corner.
Now it's a corner, yeah.
Now it's like,
You remember that little change of
Yo.
lanes? No.
like literally, it's a different world. It's not even, it's okay, at the end of the day, it's a motorbike, 2 wheels, whatever,
Brake
but the way you need to ride the thing is so different. Like, just for example, like in the straights, if you up straight, you're not driving. If you just got a little bit of angle and you keep the bike off center, then the electronics aren't cutting and you really feel the bike accelerating. But if you just, like, you don't come out a corner and pick the bike up because it just goes, oh, bah, 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 bah. It just starts cutting the whole straight. So originally I did it like 10 laps and I compared the lap to Pedrosa and I was losing like 0.3, 0.4 on some of the straights just because he does this like, almost like a weave that you watch everyone do. And it's the most incredible thing because to do that is not, oh, I want to go there and I want to go there. It's
this.
You open the throttle, the front, there's no contact. You can put the handlebars in whichever direction you want. It goes, bah, 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 and then you brake again.
And it's that seamless gearbox, so you just...
It's the most incredible feeling. When you shift gears, you don't even feel it.
Oh.
Like it's seamless, I suppose.
It's a good word, yeah.
insane.
That's why they call it a
Yeah.
seamless
They call it
gearbox.
seamless
It's
gearbox.
absolutely
And
incredible.
then, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of guys and they say the biggest adaptation to a MotoGP bike is the electronics and those carbon brakes. I mean, remember Oliveira climbing on and,
Yeah.
and grabbing that brake when he thought it was hot, but it wasn't actually, and he grabbed it, nothing, and then he grabbed it again. I mean,
Yeah.
how is those carbon brakes and even your message to me, you said the electronics, that the team just said to you, listen, while you cranked over, just give it 100%. And
Yeah.
you're like, well, if I do that on my Moto 2, I'm dead.
Exactly. It was the strange thing. The brakes I adapted to quite quickly. But it's exactly like you just said with Miguel. Like I went out the pits and I grabbed a handful of the front brake and the brakes either work or they don't. There's no, oh, it's coming to
it's
temperature.
fading,
It's literally, they get hot within 50 meters of pulling the brake
Yes.
or like 100 meters of pulling the brake. So they don't work at all. And then all of a sudden, you're going to go over the handlebars. Like I remember I came out the pits and as I braked, I was like, whoa, and then it went, and then I was like, okay, they're warm. And then after that, I could just ride normally and stuff. But another thing that was crazy is the pressure you use. Like on a Moto 2 bike, for example, which brakes will kill any road bike here.
Yeah.
Like you pull 15 bar pressure,
Okay.
which is nothing. Then I got on this bike and the rear wheels off the ground was 7.5.
Jeez, so you're just
So-
tapping that thing.
You're not even like, you know how you see the guys braking with one finger? It's like,
You wonder
not even.
how.
I always used 2, which sometimes not perfect either, but 2 was too much in between the corners. Like
So
you
this
just
is what,
touch it and the
and it
front
don't-
just drops on you.
so this is why Rossi's going slow, because he uses 4 fingers.
It uses full fingers.
He's braking too much.
He must have some serious like sensitivity
Yeah.
in those fingers because gosh, I can't even imagine it.
Oh, goodness me. But I mean, more so than that, when you pull brakes, the front wheel's still in the air, isn't it? When
Yeah.
you first need to slow down. So it's not just pull brakes, it's get the front wheel on the floor first, then pull brakes.
Yeah, it's like the one thing is like the electronics, they keep the bike really under control in like the first 3 gears, 4
Yeah.
gears. And when you shift 5th and 6th is when you really feel the power.
Yeah.
And then when you go for the brake, the front wheel's in the air. Like it's basically the
So
front wheel
like
hasn't
almost
quite
300
got the
k's
speed
an
of
hour,
the
you're
rear.
still, yeah.
So like you can turn the handlebars whichever direction you please, but you're still going to go straight. So you almost need to roll the gas or push the rear brake or something just to get the front wheel down before you pull the front brake. Also just kind of goes and just slides on you. So it was crazy. Like it was really quite overwhelming the first 5-6 laps, and then I kind of stopped, relaxed a bit, went out again. But like Rob said earlier, the one thing it's impossible to believe is we get to the middle of a corner with 62 degrees angle and you just put the bike flat out. It's,
Yeah,
you,
no,
you
that's a
don't
mind.
roll on the gas
Yeah,
at
no.
all.
Look, I mean, I'm not a fast racer like you by any means, but even on modern day superbikes, I still don't have that trust with
No.
the standard electronics package. I'm still old school. K7, Suzuki GSX
Yeah, there we
1000,
go.
Killarney, Westbank, that's what we do. But chassis wise, I mean, it is quite a bit lighter compared to your Moto 2. Could you feel it? Was it easy just to flick around?
I think the main thing was it wasn't easier to ride at all or easier to turn. I think the main thing is they run such like a crazy rake angle compared to what we would on
Okay,
a Moto
so
2
it's
bike that like the front is so open and stuff that obviously the bike's much more stable and everything, but it has to be to put up with that kind of power, you know, and that
Yes.
kind of braking performance.
Yeah.
So, like at the beginning, it's weird because you almost where you look where you want to go and you go on a normal bike, where that thing you actually need to force it to go there. But the thing is, it's so incredibly stable that you can do it with so much force and you can really put it where you want to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's one of those things that you need to adapt to because you almost need to prepare the corner 10 meters in advance.
Because once you're in there, that's where it's going to
Yeah.
stay. It's
Yeah.
not like this changing your line 3-4
No, no.
times.
Like it was super cool. I don't really know how else to explain it.
I mean, okay,
This is
so
mad.
that's a
This is
once in a
just
lifetime
mad.
experience. I mean, that's
I'm
awesome.
getting like goosebumps just listening to this. I'm
So
like,
heading
wow.
into Tech 3 for next year, you're going to be riding the KTM. Now, you don't have a lot of experience on the MotoGP bike, obviously, but obviously it's not rocket science that everyone knows that the KTM struggles. Paul Espargaro says you've got to really wrestle that bike. Zarco's smooth riding style is just not suiting that bike. Generally, what you found, I mean, what are the kind of problems that you highlight? I know you said it's a little bit sluggish to turn. I mean, what do you think are the problems that you're hoping to correct, or that KTM are hoping to correct going into the next year?
Yeah, there's a few main issues obviously that it sounds like a lot of the riders are complaining about, but the main thing is I felt just like that corner entry is just a little bit heavy. Like it's
Okay.
hard to put the bike into the corners,
Okay.
and
That's the
it's
wrestling
got
the bike.
this. But the thing is, it's really similar to what I'm used to at the moment. Actually, like if the bike is really smooth and in line, it doesn't really go where you want it to. But if you like really like sliding it a bit on the entries and stuff, then all of a sudden the bike starts to work.
Yes, yes,
And
yeah.
it's kind of the way I like to ride a bike. So I think in a way it can be good, but obviously it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. Well, look at it. We've got two riders who've joined KTM. Hafiz Siren, Joan Zarco. Both came off Yamahas, which is silky smooth. They're both struggling. And yeah, you look at riders like Paul Espargaro, and I mean, Oliveira also came off a Moto2 KTM bike, and they're not struggling as much. Is it purely down to that you've got to actually fight this bike, you've got to get out of shape, nothing like the Yamaha, or what is it?
I think that from what you can see on TV, obviously I don't know, I've never tried it, but they look like two polar opposites.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the Yamaha, you need to be this incredibly smooth, like you need to be soft on the brakes and just keep the speed going, whereas in the KTM, if you watch Paul, he looks like he's on the absolute limits on an
It's
inlap.
like arm wrestling Sylvester Stallone, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like but you see, the thing is, I think from what I've heard is that's how you have to go fast
Yeah.
on the bike to get that last bit out of it. You really got to work for it. It's not a case of you ride smoother, you ride faster. It's kind of you ride harder and then you get what you.
But
get
that
what you're
kind of
looking
plays
for.
into your hands because you're kind of that kind of rider, aren't you?
I think so. I don't know exactly on the
Well,
Moto2 bike.
hang on, we
You have
watched
to
you on
be-
your
yeah.
Moto2 bike. We wonder if they actually tighten your back wheels sometimes.
Yeah, they forget to do that.
Get to tighten it.
But-
But I don't think you notice.
So, little frustrating thing for me is, and I'm sure it must be deep down in you somewhere as well, is that you look at the likes of Quartararo and Jean Mir in MotoGP now doing brilliant jobs, especially Quartararo. And last year in the same class in Moto2, I mean, over the season you destroyed them. Generally, you just destroyed them, and I personally think you're a better rider than both of them. Not that saying that they're not good and they're not
Yeah, but
they're
he's just
crap,
better.
but you're just
Yeah,
better.
he's just better.
So
Okay?
it's, you look at Quartararo, he's climbed on that Petronas M1, it's an established bike, and he's like the next best thing in MotoGP. I mean, it must be a little bit frustrating thinking that could be you if you were climbing on that M1, and in all fairness, the KTM's not the competitive package. I think it is going to be, like Don said, KTM's got millions, they're going to make it work, but you want to go into MotoGP and do what Quartararo's doing.
For sure, that's the goal.
What
you know.
if?
Everybody wants to be there and go and kill it from the beginning, but at the same time, you know, I think with Quartararo, he just basically, I feel like he came into MotoGP and everything just suited him perfectly. You know, he really adapted well, and I think the Yamaha suits his style incredibly as well. I remember riding with him in Moto2, and you'd never see him out of shape at all. He was this super ultra smooth guy. It always used to carry a lot of corner speed. So I think the whole step for him just made sense and everything just clicked. So obviously he's an incredible rider. I mean, geez, the stuff he's done this year is special. But you know, I definitely don't think my transition is going to quite be that easy. But
And make the best of it.
yeah, you know, it is what it is. I think KTM have done an unbelievable job to even get where they are at the moment. They started this project 3 years ago. So
Whereas Honda 60 years ago.
exactly, they got a lot of catching up to do. And I mean, already this year they've shown that they can really put out the pace, especially down for one lap, or
Definitely, yeah.
at least for a few. It's just they need to just kind of find it to carry the race distance, it seems, at this stage. But I have so much faith in KTM and their whole project. The people they got involved there are incredible, and yeah, I have no doubt they're going to get there eventually. I really hope it's at the beginning of next year everything's sorted. But at the same time, I need to be realistic, and things are going to be tough. I don't want to go in there and think I'm just going to be
Do a
great from
Quattararo
the
and
beginning.
poles and
You just literally got to go there, and I got to work. That's the thing. It's just going to get better step by step every single time I ride the bike.
Well, the good thing is I can see you're excited at least. You're not
Yeah,
sitting
he
here
looks
going, oh, I'm
excited.
going to MotoGP and I'm crying. So that's awesome. But one last question from my side. I don't know if Donovan's got anything else, but you seem to have a little bit of a love affair going with a certain Portuguese Miguel Oliveira. Does Courtney know about this?
Jeez,
You guys just can't leave each other alone.
Yeah, Miguel, I don't know. I'd love to say
He's
he's
your
following
dentist.
me, but it seems like every time I go somewhere, he jumps and then I follow him. So, the thing is, we all, like I explained to you earlier with this option thing, like me and Miguel, we started out off in Moto3 the same year and we got the same contracts,
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like we have been on the same path with the KTM the whole way. And we were both in Rookies Cup, both started we were in IO Moto3,
Yes,
and then
yes.
we just made the step Moto2 and now in GP next year. So yeah, we have had the same progression going through the ranks so far. So I honestly have always enjoyed having Miguel as a teammate. He's always been super strong, and it's always great for me to compare to his data, compare his
Yes,
data and
yeah.
everything. I feel like I've always made steps like that. So going forward, I think it's going to be good. I mean, the nice thing is also I'm going to have guys like Zarko to compare to,
Yes.
Pole, and they all got completely different riding styles. So there's going to be a lot of
There's a variety. Yeah, you
I
don't need
can
to
really
just-
learn from them, which is the main thing. I think that's the time it's going to take to improve or to get closer to the front is just going to be like, it's a learning curve at the end of the day. I believe the sooner that I start to pick up on what I need and what I'm comfortable with, the sooner I'm going to go faster.
Okay, last question. Have you spoken to Hervé Ponchal and do you understand him?
Yeah, he's actually such a cool guy.
He
He's-
does look like a
He
really
does
cool
look like a very kind of understanding sort of guy. You
He's
know what I
really
mean?
a legend. I always used to speak to him before, but I didn't. Now, lately, I've been speaking to him a lot more and all of that. And he's such a cool guy. He's been in the paddock for so long. Like, he's literally a legend in the
He
paddock.
is the paddock, yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool. He's such a cool guy, and I really look forward to working with all of them next year.
Well, that's it then from Talking MotoGP. Brad Binder, thank you so much for coming on. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also check out, Donovan's going to sit with Brad and do a little quick piece for the Bike Show TV. And of course, you can read the August issue of Ride Fast magazine, where I'll turn this whole conversation somehow into a 4 or 5
Yes,
page spread. I've got to type it
He's
out.
not only going to edit this, but he's going to type all this out.
But let me tell you something quickly. It's a lot easier because when Brad was doing columns for us and he would send me text, it's a lot easier me typing it out than editing what he
But
used
you got
to
to
send.
translate what he sends into English.
I have to try and imagine what that word might have been.
And then also make sure you check out Greg Maloney, the voice of choice, his Facebook page, because we're going to do a really cool, what is it called? Live on the Drive. Of
He's
course,
standing
Live on the
over
Drive. He's standing right there. We're about to climb in the car and do a Live on the Drive. So some really cool stuff. Again, thank you so much to Brad. It's his holiday, but he's taken out the time, invited us into his beautiful, fully furnished home to come and sit and chill
Under his tree.
under his tree. But until the next one, we'll catch up with Brad later on in the year as well. We're going to try and put together the meet and greet at the end of the year at Ridgeway Race Bar again. Try and get, I'm going to Valencia the last race. I'm going to try and steal some more boots, helmets, gloves, used undies, whatever I can steal of his, and then we'll auction away there. So until next time, catch you later.